Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 89 of the Computer Business Marketing Show. Today's episode is brought to you by Tech Blog Builder. Tech Blog Builder is the blog writing service for IT businesses. We craft content that converts website visitors into customers with 100% unique, SEO-ready, professionally written blog posts delivered on a consistent schedule. We also help you get the word out via social media posts and high-quality branded videos, all customized for your business and content. Learn more at techblogbuilder.com. It's also brought to you by Tech Site Builder. Tech Site Builder is a hosted website builder that allows you to quickly and easily get a clean, professional, and effective website up and running for your IT business. Save time and frustration with Tech Site Builder. Learn more at techsitebuilder.com. Today, Paco and I are going to chat about how to build a list of prospects and then what to do with that list once you've built it. So we're going to talk about, creating, building, generating leads on your website, purchasing lead lists, how to manually curate a list of leads, and how to build leads in person. And then we'll talk about what to do with those leads once you have them, how not to be too salesy, how to do cold outreach versus warm outreach, and a bunch of other stuff. We really dig deep into the weeds of this particular topic and give you lots of actionable advice. So definitely stick around for this one, all that, and so much more coming up right now. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Computer Business Marketing Show. If you own or work in an IT services business, this is the place to learn how to get more clients, keep them happy, and grow your revenue. You can watch, download, and or subscribe to all show episodes at computerbusinessmarketing.com.
You can also catch our live stream on Facebook every other Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Just be sure to like the Tech Site Builder page, click on the following tab, and select See First so that the live stream will jump to the top of your feed.
Absolutely. So welcome to everyone who's watching this live on Facebook, and welcome to everyone who's listening to the recording on your favorite pod catcher like iTunes or Stitcher. And thank you to anyone who's watching this on YouTube. We don't get a lot of YouTube viewers, but if you happen to stumble on this, or you're one of the few and the proud who actually primarily consume this show on YouTube, welcome to you as well. And spread the word. We'd love to get more YouTube people tuning in. I know, I don't know, this isn't really, it's not the best thing for YouTube, I guess. But
you get what you pay for.
Get what you pay for. Exactly. All right. So today our topic is, we don't have a guest. So Paco and I are going to chat about building a customer list, some of the different ways you can build a customer list, some ways that might surprise you. How do you like that for a teaser? Some ways that aren't obvious that you might not be thinking about. And then once you have a list of potential customers, what do you do with it? How do you best leverage that list of leads? So we're going to get into that for the topic today. But before that, I just want to say hi. My name is Matthew Rodella. I am a former IT business owner, and now I run a couple businesses or a couple services that help IT business owners market themselves. One is called Tech Site Builder, and one is called Tech Blog Builder, and I will get into what each of those do in a little bit. And this show is the Computer Business Marketing Show, where we help you grow your business through marketing tips and tricks that are specifically targeted at you folks, computer repair businesses, IT businesses, MSPs, everything in between. We try to cover it all here and leave no stone unturned. And I'm joined here by my co-host, who is out in the trenches, fighting the good fight, doing the work of the people in his IT business. Paco Lebron, how you doing, Paco?
Oh, I wish I picked another industry, man. But no, it's
yes. Sometimes I get that feeling too.
No, things are good. I can't complain. It's a busy good. So, yeah, things are well. I cannot complain one bit.
Excellent. So what's been happening in your world here lately?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been super busy. I had we were on, I went for a vacation for my birthday on that weekend. it was a little bit more intense than it was relaxing. So, when you take your child and it's kind of making sure that they have fun, not so much yo. So,
Right.
I have my monthly or quarterly mastermind with a couple of the fellows with the community on podcasting this weekend. So that'll be my guys' weekend out, as they say. And hopefully get some good knowledge and stuff like that. But yeah, no, just really been busy. A lot of projects have been coming up, a lot of coordination. It's starting to become very interesting to, coordinate certain subcontractors that you have no kind of involvement with, but you still have some configuration. So for example, my cabling guy, we just did a 26 drop at one of my clients' locations. We did another setup where we're onboarding Office 365 for a law firm. We have another client that we're doing some onboarding. So it's been a good month for onboarding this month. So we had 3 that came in at the same time. So that's been taking up a lot of my time and really working up the retainer blocks. So appreciate that for my clients taking care of us. Nice. And basically I hired my new virtual assistant as of last week. So she's starting 3 days out of the week part-time. And how I've been trying to do onboarding is we met for one day, and then I've just been recording screen shares of me going into Synchro. So primarily, I just really need her to just reply to all the emails that come into our help email and basically make sure everyone gets a response. And then second, making sure that, any tickets that are coming in our leads component are created and set up, and appointments that are set as well. So it's been really helpful to have that, especially to schedule appointments. It's been a little bit hectic for me to even just sit down and do some billing. So I'm hoping that, eventually everything all in one system, and just basically have her kind of go through some of that stuff as we kind of move along. So
is she truly virtual? Like she's not in your area?
She's local. She's in Chicago. She just she works remotely.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
that's great. That's the best of both worlds, because then you don't have to have an office to house her, but you can meet with her in person, every now and then when you need to. That's the one thing I miss with having Madison in Nevada, is that it's it's nice to just kind of every now and then get together and sit down in person and talk through things.
Right. Yeah. And, virtual conferencing, it helps as well, going through Zoom or Google Hangouts, things like that. And sometimes it's a little bit more efficient too. You don't have to try and figure out a place. You don't have to try and flip the screen around and,
right.
All that sort of deal. So, all in all, pretty good. And, just because of the busyness, I'm falling behind on my podcast. I've already heard a couple of pokes about it. So I'm hoping to get one here recorded for the weekend. And get that going out next week. But yeah, it's just one of those where trying to maintain a consistency is, I got to figure out a better time to record, because I always remember about it Sunday night, and I try to do it Monday night for Tuesday, and it just doesn't work out the way I want it to.
Take a page from my book. Go live, find a co-host.
I do got a couple interviews I got to do. So I got a couple good guys that want to jump on and tell their story. So just got to schedule some time with them after.
And remind folks what that podcast is and where they can find it.
Yeah. So I am the host of Tech Life, formerly known as Podnuts Daily, over on the Podnuts Network. So you can find us on podnuts.com or Tech Life on the iTunes or Stitcher, any of your podcatchers.
Awesome. Yep. Cool. And as far as what I've been up to, so it's been a rough couple weeks. My dog got injured a couple weeks ago, so I've been trying to help him get better and heal. And this is the first time I've had a dog like as an adult, like by myself, like it's my dog. Like I've had dogs before when I was a kid and pets and stuff. But it's definitely a different thing when it's like you're the sole one responsible for it. And so especially, this is something I hadn't been through before, but when a dog gets injured, you don't know what happened to it because it can't talk and it can't really tell you what's going on. So it's like a lot of like trying to figure out, and it's hurting and it's in pain. You can tell it's in pain, but you can't, figure out what's wrong with it. So it was just, luckily I work from home, so I was able to stay at home and kind of take care of it while it was injured. We think it got hurt when we took it to day camp. We take him to day camp every now and then so he can play with other dogs and run around and stuff because we don't have a backyard where we live. So we like to, let him play with other dogs. And I guess he must have played pretty rough with a bigger dog. Maybe the bigger dog tried to mount him or something. And so we think he did something to a disc in his back or tweaked his back or something. And so it was just, he was out for a while. He couldn't move. And it was just a lot of taking care of him. So that was 1 week. And then the next week, which is this week, so this year we're doing National Guard a little differently. We're splitting up the 2 weeks in the summer and doing one of the weeks now and the other week in the summer, because we want to try to do this week. We want to try to do recruiting at colleges, and we can't do that in the summer when all the colleges are out. So we're trying to do it in the winter. So we're doing it this week. So it's been so I'm going off and doing National Guard and then coming home and trying to catch up on work and stuff. So very hectic. But one of the things I found that I really struggle with, especially at these times when a lot of stuff is going on, there's things I've outsourced in my business and there's things that are automated, and that's all great. All that stuff is running well. But the one thing that I haven't quite figured out how to automate or get off my plate is when I'm working with clients on projects and, we have the initial meeting. That's great. I can throw that on the calendar, hop on the phone, get their requirements, propose a solution all on the phone. And they say, great, let's do it. And then I'll say, okay, great. Let me put this together in like an official proposal or agreement that you can sign. And then I'll send you the first invoice and we'll get rolling. So we have that first meeting. And then for some reason, I get busy with other stuff and I don't get to that proposal, or I don't get to that contract, or I don't get to that invoice. And then it ends up getting pushed off and pushed off and pushed off. And it becomes a problem. Sometimes I might forget about it, or sometimes the person I'm working with gets frustrated because they're ready to get going. And yet here I am saying, I'll have this to you in a couple of days. And then it ends up being a week. In this case, there's a client I'm working with. It's been about 2 weeks, and they actually reached back out to me saying, hey, I'm waiting for this thing you said you're going to do for me, and it hasn't happened yet. So it's a lot of times it's that point, because once they sign the invoice and they give me their first payment, then I feel like I have skin in the game and I have to start working for them and get something done. But it's that point between the initial kind of conversation and the official project beginning, that gap there, that I have trouble figuring out how to, get
close the gap.
That. Yeah.
So so I have the same issue in reverse. Obviously the customer trying not to, following up and not hearing back, or, things like that. So what I've learned is scheduling another meeting after the end of that meeting. And so, for example, if I work with a prospect and give them all the information, it sounds like, yep, I just got to go back to my, boss, my director, whatever the case may be, I'll tell them right then and there, okay, great, no problem. Do you think it'll be okay to give you a call same time next week? Or do you need 2 weeks? And we confirm on a hard date and the time. And what I do is I send them a calendar invitation, same as I did when we spoke as a proposal. And then that way they know that they've committed it in their head for that date. And so it's not a surprise for me to follow up on that date. And then oftentimes some people just couldn't speak on that day, and they'll email me right before saying, hey, sorry, I can't make the meeting. Let's schedule for Friday and things like that. So I'm not sure if this is something that can be helpful for you, where if maybe, you got the proposal, you got everything you need to make the proposal, and you kind of tell them, it's probably going to take me about a week or so, or 2 weeks. You give a bigger time frame, right, just in case, because especially you're going to know what's going on at that time when you're kind of doing everything. And then once you give them that date, if you come in earlier, you just look that much more of a superstar to them you're on the ball and kind of going from that. Or if you get to that date, it's promised. So right, that may help out. And then putting that calendar reminder may put you on the hook. So that way it's tangible for you to kind of work on. So that may be a suggestion I would give on that part.
Yeah, I think increasing the timeline is a great thing because, I will often create like a to-do task or something to get that done. But any new task goes to the bottom of the list because there's things that are, that were at the bottom of the list 2 weeks ago that are now at the top of the list and I got to get done. So then it ends up, taking a while to get to the top of the list. So yeah, I think that's really good. I'll just give them a longer time frame saying, okay, great. We got a few projects going on now, but as soon as, we're wrapping up those, we'll get the proposal sent to you so that we can focus on this project. So I can kind of spin it as as once we get that done, then we can focus on your project. And because I'm afraid that, that gap that they're waiting, they're going to think, oh, this guy is, he's not going to have time for us, or he's going to be late with everything in the project. And I definitely don't want to give them that impression.
Right.
So I think promising a longer time frame is good. And then I'd love to find a way to automate or something, because putting together a proposal is one of the things I least like doing, but it's one of the things that I have the hardest time figuring out how to outsource.
Yeah.
So I think something I'm going to try now that I'm talking about it is, and I do this usually, I'll record the conversation I have with the customer to gather requirements and everything. If I can record that and then train, Madison or someone to, kind of how to put together the proposal and then send them that recording and see if they can use the points of that recording to put together a proposal. That might be something I'll try.
Yeah, putting together quotes, putting together proposals is terrible. Yeah, I hate it. I hate it with a passion.
Yeah.
But that's what you got to do.
That might be like a good business if someone wants to be like an outsourced proposal writer.
Yeah.
I think they can make a lot of money with that. Hey, Mike, how's it going? Mike Wise is joining us.
Hey, Mike.
Mike and his wife, we met him last year at IT Owners Compass.
Yep, they're actually helping us out with the newsletter for TechCon.
Nice.
So
excellent. Good to see friends in the group there. All right, so before we jump into the featured topic, I want to mention the first service that I have that I think can help you guys listen to this, and that's called Tech Blog Builder. Tech Blog Builder is a blog writing service for IT businesses. So in this podcast, we talk a lot about the importance of content marketing and the fact that in order for customers to want to use your services, they have to get to know you. They have to understand that you are the expert at what you're doing, and they have to get to trust you. And the best way to do that is to be constantly putting out free content, whether it's videos, social media posts, blog posts. These are things that help get you in front of your customers or your potential customers day after day, week after week, and then they eventually get, they learn that you're going to be the go-to person when they have a computer issue. So the best way to do that is to start with the blog. I love starting with blog posts because you put those on your own website, you own them, and they help with your SEO on your website. And they also, you can then take that blog post and use it in other ways. And that's what we do in Tech Blog Builder. We write unique blog posts for your IT business, and then we take those blog posts, put them on your website for you. We search engine optimize them for you so that that they're good to go with that. And then we have a couple other extra add-on services where we'll also take those blog posts and post them on social media and link them back to your website, create a cool little snazzy graphic to go with it. And then we also have a service where we'll take all of that and package it in a video so that you can get even further engagement. And then you can take that video, we put it on social media for you, or you can also take that video and put it on your website, put it wherever you want. So everything we create for you through Tech Blog Builder is yours. And we try to create it in the voice of your business. So it looks like, it's coming from your business and it's not being, ghost written by a third party. So we really get to know your business. We craft content that is in your business's voice. And then we distribute it out from your blog and your website to social media and videos as well. So if you want to check out Tech Blog Builder, if you think that'll be a good fit for your business, head on over to techblogbuilder.com. All right, so let's jump into the featured topic today, which is about how to build a customer list and what to do with it once you have it. So we're going to kind of break this conversation up into two halves. The first half is going to be how to build a list of leads, basically, right? We call it a customer list, but really it's not your customers, it's potential customers or people who you want to reach out to become customers. So my favorite way to do this, of course, is through your website because I'm the website guy, and I like doing stuff on the website. And I think the website is the perfect tool to do this because it's something you have control over, unlike social media, for example. It's something that you can make it look however you want. You can brand it. You can put it in your voice. It's a great way to attract the kind of customer you want to attract. So if if you do residential break fix, great. You can have images of you fixing computers in people's houses. You could talk about your remote services, how you'll go to their house, have some friendly images on the homepage, talk in kind of a laid back, less formal way in your content. And then you'll attract those types of customers to your website. So once you're attracting customers to your website, there are other ways you can get people to land on your website. My favorite is SEO, search engine optimization, because that way you are building your website to be found by people in search engines, and it's something that's ongoing. So once you set a good SEO foundation and you keep it going, that's a great way to just continue to get leads over and over again for the rest of time, basically. Another way you can get leads is AdWords, Google's advertisement platform. You have to pay for that, so you need to invest some money up front, and you especially need to invest a lot of money at the very beginning when you're experimenting, trying to find the right keywords, trying to build your keyword list and stuff like that. But once you get that going and it's going pretty good, you can start to generate a lot of good leads to your website. Another thing you can do is Facebook ads. I'm a big fan of using Facebook ads to generate leads as opposed to using Facebook ads to generate sales. So someone's going to click on an ad and engage with you more often if you're not selling them something. If you're just saying, hey, here's a helpful piece of content, or here's something cool that I wanted to show you, they'll click on that no problem, because that's something they're used to seeing on Facebook is a helpful article or something like that. So you use Facebook ads to get people to come to your website to consume content and then learn more about your business. So those are kind of the three primary ways I like to send people to websites. Once they get to the website, then you want to make sure you have a customized landing page depending on how they find out about your website. So through SEO, depending on the keyword they use, you can have a page that's built around that keyword. So for example, if someone's searching for, I did this recently for a tech site builder customer, we built them a VoIP services landing page. So if someone was typing, VoIP service provider in Google, you did some good SEO, that showed up at the top. They click the link and they land on a page that says, hey, we are the best VoIP SEO or the best VoIP service provider in town. Here's what we can do. Here's how we can help you. As opposed to just landing on a generic computer repair website, that there's a bit of a disconnect between VoIP and computer repair. So it's good to have a specific landing page. Once they land on that landing page, then you want to give them a way to contact you very easily. The best way to do that is have a phone number and a form, and use both. If someone's on their phone looking and they don't have much time, they might just want to click a button to call you. Whereas if they're on their desktop, if they're at work and they might not be able to make a call, then you have that form where they can fill out a form to contact you. So if the service you're providing is enticing enough, they might fill out that form and then they become a lead. So then you can add them to your list of leads, and then we'll talk about what to do with that later. But if you find that you have a lot of people landing on your page and they're not filling out that form or they're not calling you, then you might want to give them an extra incentive with what we call a lead magnet, some kind of thing that in order to get it, they need to give you their email address. So a popular type of lead magnet is an ebook or a white paper or some kind of useful downloadable thing that in order to download it, they need to give you their email address. But it can also be a free consultation. It could also be, a free discovery call or reach out to us, or maybe we'll, for me, it would be like a free web audit. Maybe, I could take a look at their website, tell them what could be improved, and no strings attached. Hey, I'll do it for you for free, no obligation. But in exchange, you do get their email address so you can reach out to them later. So that's kind of how you can use your website to kind of turn it into a lead generation machine. We've talked about all these pieces before, all these bits of the puzzle, and putting them all together on your website can really be an effective way to generate leads. So Paco, do you have another way that you like to acquire lists of potential customers?
Nope. End of show. No, I'm kidding. One that I've been doing is, sometimes it's kind of hard to get that process going. And speaking with a friend of mine, he had pointed me to possibly looking into purchasing lists. Now, this is where there are certain vendors out there that will allow you to purchase a customer list depending on the type of criteria you plug in and be able to find your potential prospect. And this is anywhere from you're looking at only law firms, you're looking at, healthcare, specifically in a particular zip code, a specific type of demographic, things like that. So the resource he pointed me to was data.com. So basically dataconnect.com. Connect.data.com is the full website. And I used that a lot in the early days to basically gather a list to attack. But they're actually ending that service May 4th of this year. So if you are going to be using that list, that is something that you're going to want to go ahead and take a look at and take advantage of as soon as possible. I believe they allow you to save those search queries that you do. But you're unable to print those out. If I remember correctly, you do have to pay for that to print that list and kind of do what you got to do with it. Another resource, which actually Mike Wise was the one that actually brought this up on podcasts, on Computer Repair Podcast that he was on, yes, is certain libraries. So referenceusa.com actually has a database of a lot of customizable ways of finding your particular prospects. And this is, again, through the criteria that I mentioned before. But the cool part about this is referenceusa.com is a paid for service. But there are libraries, depending on your city and town, that have partnered with Reference USA. And as long as you have your library card and your login, you'll actually be able to access their database free of charge. So for us in Chicago, the Chicago Public Library actually has a relationship with referenceusa.com, and we're able to utilize that list, and it's a lot cleaner, a lot more things that are going on. And we've been able to pull some lists that way free of charge as well.
I like the idea of lists or purchasing lists because, like you said, you can get really specific about like the type of industry or the type of neighborhood. If you want to, have super local people just around your area, you can kind of target it down to that. And it's a great way if you want to break into a certain industry, but you have no connection to that industry, get a list of leads in that industry. And then, that's a good start. One thing I would caution though is, just be wary of purchasing lists because sometimes I've heard, I haven't done it myself, but I've heard that sometimes you'll buy a list of customers and then, it's like 5-10 years old. And so a lot of the information is outdated or, a lot of the businesses have changed owners or something like that. So that can be a risk. So just make sure, that when you get the list, they tell you like either this list is constantly updated or it's been updated at a certain time.
Yeah. Research your vendors and research that way.
Great. So yeah, that's a kind of great way to, if you have some extra money burning a hole in your pocket and you want to get some, a good focused list of specific leads, that's a good way to go. Another way to do it, and this is something I've done for Tech Site Builder and Tech Blog Builder, is so for example, if the way you found out about Tech Site Builder is we happened to follow you on social media, that's probably because you ended up on our manually curated list. And this is basically, I'll tell my VA Madison when she's done with her work for the day, but she still has time left over in the day working for me, I'll tell her to build this manually curated list. And basically she's going to go to every town in the U.S., the big towns, right? And she'll just off the top of her head think, okay, you know, Los Angeles, California. Okay, what's near Los Angeles? San Francisco, California. Okay, San Diego, California. She'll just kind of work her way through the map, and for each you know major metropolitan area, she'll type it into Google space IT business or San Francisco space computer repair, and then the list of folks that show up there. She goes to the website, sees what the phone number is, gathers the, you know, as much information as she can, social media accounts, location, the name of the owner, if she can find it, all publicly available information. And she puts it in a spreadsheet, and she just builds that spreadsheet over time. And that spreadsheet is now, you know, around 1,500 strong of, you know, these customers who are my target customer for the services I provide. And you know, you can be very picky, you know, saying I only want to find websites that are in a certain area or are doing certain services. So this is another great way you can get targeted around specific industries or specific regions. And it's a great way to you know, be sure that the businesses that you're getting the information is up to date, at least as up to date as is on their website. Sometimes you're going to find things that aren't up to date, but most of the time, the first page of Google, the businesses there are going to be businesses that are doing well, that are, you know, that are in business, that haven't, you know, been dormant for a while. So that's a great way to just, you know, it takes time, and it's a lot of effort. That's why I say outsource it, get a VA, or just hire someone to do nothing but that. You can find a college intern or something like that to do it for you. But you can just slowly build out over time. Another way to manually curate a list is use LinkedIn. The LinkedIn, what is it? LinkedIn Pro or what is it?
Sales Navigator.
Sales
Premium.
Navigator. Right, LinkedIn Premium, you get Sales Navigator, where you can do some really good searches through LinkedIn for different types of customers and different in different industries and different, you know, income levels and that kind of thing. Kind of like you can do through Facebook, where you can target a certain audience. Except Facebook, it's anonymous. In LinkedIn, you actually get a list of the people that meet these search criterias. And that's another great way. You can build that list. You can take that information and put it in a spreadsheet, or just, you know, build that list within LinkedIn itself. That's another great way to just, you know, over time, something, you know, you do just, again, once your employees have free time or whatever, just slowly add to that list. And eventually, after a while, you blink and you have a list of thousands of potential customers. So let's see, we've been talking about a lot of like, you know, impersonal ways of building lists. And it can get kind of impersonal because it's basically just a spreadsheet full of names and places, and you don't really know these people. But I think one of maybe the most effective ways to build a list of potential customers is to, you know, go out and meet people. And I know this is something you do a lot, Paco. What are some tips you have for that?
Yeah, way back when I used to do this networking thing, I used to, yeah. So yeah, no, so, you know, networking is a great opportunity to find resources and partners. But oftentimes you can find relationships that may end up turning into customers as well, or just somebody you want to keep up to date with your content or information, you know, because you should be a subject matter expert of your field in the circles that you run. So, you know, the best way to collect or build your list in in-person events are two ways. One, you can collect business cards. You know, everyone still has business cards. They pass them around, and, you know, you can curate your list that way, because essentially everyone understands at a networking event, you're going to get some type of email one way or another, or be sold to. If you go to a networking event and do not believe you'll be sold to, then you need to make sure that you update your selling profile, because that is what you need to expect. And then second, LinkedIn. You know, a lot of people are really trying to go away from business cards. There's some people that have say, you know, yeah, what's your LinkedIn, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And they have I believe it's the QR code, or there's a little tag that you can go into LinkedIn, or if you click on search for nearby people on LinkedIn who are in that setting, also you'll be able to curate a list and add them to your LinkedIn list on that way. And then as whatever campaign you decide to do, you can actually just show it to your connections versus just public or on kind of in a vague broad way of kind of advertising whatever content it is to that list.
Oh, right. Yeah. I do that in Facebook too. Like I can build lists of friends, and that's why I'll accept friend requests from customers and colleagues and business associates, and then I'll put them in a specific Facebook group or list, I guess, friend list. And if I want to share something about, a marketing related article that I know like my friends and family aren't going to care about, I'll just send that particular post and have it be showing only to that list. And that's something you can do in LinkedIn. And I think even Twitter and all the other social media kind of have some kind of, thing where you can curate a list of leads and only send stuff to them. Cool. Yeah. Something that it's funny because, being in the National Guard, and I'm just tying this to the National Guard because it happens to be what I'm doing this week. We're doing a lot of recruiting this week, or, we're trying, and it's not recruiting in the sense that we're, finding people, grabbing their arm and saying, hey, sign up for the Army. It's basically, we're going to colleges and just, and trying to, and we're actually doing a lot of good marketing principles that we talk about on the show. We're going to colleges. We're trying to be helpful. We're, since we're in the military band, we're sitting in with their music classes, and we're trying to be helpful, right? We're trying to help them, in rehearsals and be a resource for them to say, hey, we're musicians. We get paid for what we do. So, we might have a thing or two to impart on you if you have any questions. And then through that, you get them to know, like, and trust you. And then you start talking about the benefits of, in our case, joining the military, but in our business's case, you can start to talk about, what you do in your company and how you can help them if they have some specific needs. And then we were told this week, if you're talking to someone, don't leave without getting their contact information so you can follow up with them. So even if, you're having a personal conversation, or it's not even about business, before you take off, you say, hey, I'd love to, keep this conversation going, or I'd love to follow up with you. Here's my business card. Do you have a business card? And just get some kind of contact information, even if you feel like it's not going to go anywhere, or even if you, feel like there wasn't any kind of, business connection. It's still good to get that follow up, get that contact, because then you can, again, add them to your list. And then eventually over time, maybe you guys didn't quite hit it off when you first met in person, but maybe over time they get to know you. I can think of actually a couple specific examples where I met someone at a conference and I thought they were full of it, or I thought they were, a little weird or creepy or something. But then, I found them on social media or something. I started getting to know them, and eventually, I found out, hey, they got some really great to offer, or they've got awesome services, or they make great videos or something like that. And then I kept that relationship going. So that can happen to you as well.
So it's interesting because Carlos Mercado had left a comment. So it kind of deviates to that is, how do you introduce yourself in LinkedIn? Is there any special direction and so forth? What I do is I just add people. If they're in my field, or, if they're in that specific one, I don't even send a message, because I feel like every message I receive, it's always a BS. Hey, saw you in my network. I thought we should connect. Let's whatever,
Yeah, because if someone sends me a friend request on LinkedIn, I'm going to check out,
Yeah, right.
And what their job title is or whatever. And if it's something that I think, can relate to what I'm doing, then I'll accept it. So I don't necessarily need a personalized message or anything.
Right. Because it's always, hey, I want to, and I've gotten good about it now, but, sometimes I give it a shot, see if they're not going to sell me on the second message of them saying, hey, thought we would be great to work together, blah, blah, blah. Right. And I get a ton of those all the time, and I just ignore them, But then, there's some that will say, hey, we share the same connections. I think it'd be great to connect. Okay, sure.
Yeah, maybe if you think like it wouldn't be obvious why they would want to connect to you, then
right.
maybe you send them a message. But if they're if you do IT support for law firms and they're a law firm, just
Right, exactly. But if I see in your opening tagline is helping small businesses gain profitability by 100x, I know you're going to sell me. I'm not accepting your request.
right.
It's not going to happen, you know?
Yep.
So,
Love it. Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and then once you give them a friend request, then it's just a matter of you posting helpful
yep,
stuff consistently on LinkedIn, plus engaging with the other people who you follow and their posts. So
yep.
eventually you might like their post or comment on their post, and they might see the helpful posts you put out there. And then, and then that just kind of builds up, and they get to know you again. Know, like, trust. That's what it's building. And you kind of go naturally from there.
Yeah, we did a great episode with Joel Applebaum.
Yep.
Applebaum.
Applebaum. There's an F in there.
Applebaum. Yeah, he's totally all in on LinkedIn. So if you get a chance, check out the episode of CBMS Computer Business Marketing Show, and follow him on LinkedIn. You'll see all the type of content that guy throws out, and it's not even just curated content or content that he feels that may be especially valuable to the audience. He just is doing everything. He's putting motivational posts. He's just talking about his day. He's just getting out there and seeing what works, and whatever works, he continues to keep doing it. It's a moving target, and I think he's killing it.
Yeah, that's great. And it's almost better just to be seen and not necessarily have to worry about always, talking about IT or always talking about your services. We talked to Nathan Drager last time, where he'll post videos about not necessarily what they're doing in their shop, but what they're doing in the community. If they went to the local fair, if they're having an employee meeting or something like that, just throw stuff out there and let people get to know you through the content you create. That's a whole nother episode. So we're getting close to running out of time, but we want to definitely go to the second half of this conversation and talk about, now that we've built a list of customers or potential customers or leads or prospects or whatever you want to call it, what do you do with that list? So I'll get started. This is what I do with the list that I'm building manually. And it's going to depend on how the list is built, will depend on how you follow up with that list or reach out to that list. So the warmer the lead, so a warm lead is someone who's gotten to know you before you reach out to them. So like people you meet in person or people who've been watching your stuff for a while, that's a warm lead that you've communicated with in the past, versus a cold lead where you have to be a little bit more careful. So for example, this manually curated list of leads, they're all cold leads as far as I know. None of them know who I am, know what I do. So I delicately approach them. I don't want to turn them off or be spammy or anything. So the first thing I'll do is I'll just go through and start following them on social media. The great thing about following someone on social media is they get a notification that someone follows them, and then that piques their interest, and they can see, for example, if it's your business page that's following them on Facebook, they can see, oh, IT Services for Lawyers Inc. is following me. I'm a law firm. Oh, that sounds intriguing. I'll see what's going on and see what they have to offer, and maybe reach out eventually. Same thing with LinkedIn. Make sure that subtitle on your LinkedIn profile is very specific and really speaks to the people you're going to be following. So when you do follow them on LinkedIn, they see your name, and then they see always below the name is the I forget what it's called, the subtitle or whatever you call it, the job description. I don't know what they call it on LinkedIn, but that little line that's under your name,
The headline tag or something.
Headline. That sounds right. They see that and they're like, oh, okay, cool. This person looks interesting. I'll follow them back, or I'll let them follow me, or accept their friend request, whatever platform it is. And then, from there, then you can start to, again, just once they get to know you on social media, then you can start reaching out to them other ways. Then you can maybe send them an email. Maybe if you have a conversation on Facebook and you go back and forth a little bit, like they comment on one of your things or you comment on one of their things, then you can shoot them an email a little bit later saying, hey, it was fun chatting on Facebook. I just wanted to follow up and whatever, talk more about the issue you're having, or see if I can be more helpful. And then they went from a cold lead to a warm lead because they got to know you through social media. So that's definitely kind of one of the primary ways that I like to take those cold leads and warm them up a little bit.
Unlike myself, I'll go ahead and go completely cold. And what I'll do is, so I did this a campaign in the summer, especially when I had just moved into my new office. And what I did was I ended up looking up the list, curating who was in the area of around my new office. And I would go ahead and look up the members on LinkedIn and just add them. And I would do an ad request. Just so they can see a face to the email that I would eventually send. Right. So they just don't think it's just spam. And essentially what I did was just, I went ahead and used Mixmax. I did the template and basically said, hey, just wanted to introduce myself. We're new in the neighborhood, but we've been in the West Loop for 6 years or 5.5 years at the time. Blah, blah, blah. We would love, if you have any questions or in need of any IT support or help, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Here's our address. Thank you, blah, blah, blah. And that was more of the engagement to figure out who, who'd be interested, what would bounce back if the list was old. And then also with Mixmax, it allowed me to see who opened it. So that way I saw, 2 businesses opened it like 7 times. So I then called the business and said, hey, just introduce myself. Curious if so-and-so is there, drummed up a conversation, and then we kind of just went off from there.
Yeah, and I would take that a step further, that initial email you send out, and maybe even offer up like a helpful blog post or a helpful resource saying, hey, I noticed you're in the law industry. I wrote this blog post I think you might find helpful. That way you're not even saying like, hey, we offer services that you might like. You're saying, hey, here's this, helpful thing that I wrote. So it's kind of less of a commitment for them, but they're getting more out of it almost.
Yep.
Cool. So, and famously, and we've talked about this before, Mike Jr., right? Mike Smith's son was the one who taught us about the voicemail
campaign. Yeah.
The voicemail campaign where you call, if you want to cold call businesses, but you're not a fan of cold calling, you call their business line after hours. So you're, or on the weekends. So you know that you're probably more likely to get their voicemail. And then you just leave, a helpful voicemail. The same thing you would do like Paco did in his email, or the same thing you would say if you were meeting them in person or something. Just say, hey, I wanted to introduce myself. This is my business. These are the services I provide. If you need anything, just let me know. Here's my number, that kind of thing. So it takes a lot of the pressure off of the cold calling situation. And then you're able to get everything out, right? If you're cold calling someone, they pick up and you're like, hey, this is so-and-so. And they're like, oh, not interested. And they hang up, that just cut you off. Where at least with a voicemail, you're able to kind of get through your whole spiel. And so that's another kind of way to use those phone numbers that you're getting from these different list building techniques to reach out to them. And then finally, kind of, I'll leave you with a bit of a ninja tip. This is something I'm also doing with the list that I'm manually curating, is you can build a custom Facebook audience with it. So with the list that I'm building that I put into a spreadsheet, you can just take that spreadsheet, import it into Facebook, into the Facebook ad manager area, or what is it called? Audience, I think. Audiences.
Through
business Facebook, it's audiences. Yep. So you go to business.facebook.com, go to the audiences section, and then you can put together a custom audience. And the custom audience can be based on a spreadsheet you upload. And then what Facebook will do is it'll look at all the information. And that's why it's important to get as much information as you can in the spreadsheet, because they not only look at name, they look at business name, they look at phone number, they look at location, and they use all of that information to match that person to a person that exists on Facebook. And it, for the lists that I've uploaded, it's been between 40 and 70%, where 70% of the people on that list, it matched with someone on Facebook, and it put them in this custom list. So then you can take that list, and these are people that maybe you've already followed on social media, maybe you've already done some of the outreach via phone or email, and then kind of the next level is to start showing them ads on Facebook through the custom audience. And that way that these people already kind of know who you are, or they're already someone can need your service. And then it's just a matter of going back to what I talked about earlier, where you create ads that are value based. So you're saying, hey, here's a helpful blog post I wrote, or hey, here's a great download that you can download that'll be helpful to your particular industry. Click this ad and check it out. You don't say click this ad, but you say click here to check it out. And then they do that. You're not pressuring them to purchase anything. You'll get a lot more engagement. You'll get a lot more click through, and you'll get a lot more traction by doing that. And it's kind of like an audience inception. So you're taking a list you already have, putting it into Facebook, and then getting people to click on the ad to then go to your website, to then go into your funnel to get added to another list. And that list is a list of people who are interested. So you start with a cold list of people who are prospects, get them to your website, get them to fill out the landing page, and that list is people who are actually interested in your services. And that's a list that you can then start selling to. You never want to sell to the cold list. You always want to sell to the warm list. And the way to get that cold list warm, besides all the other stuff we talked about, is put them in a custom audience, give them valuable tips in Facebook, and really you want to hit them from all these different directions. Put them in LinkedIn, connect on LinkedIn, connect on Facebook, send them emails, give them a phone call, show them Facebook ads, and eventually they're either going to love you or they're going to hate you. and if but they're not going to be able to ignore you. And I think that's the key, is they need to know you exist, and then they can make the decision if they want to use you or not. But the worst thing is to have them not know you exist at all. And then of course they'll never be able to be your customer. So that's my 2 cents about that. All right. Anything else you want to add to that, Paco?
No, I think we kind of exhausted with the time.
We hit that dead horse, didn't we? All right, guys. So that's going to do it for this episode. Really quick, just want to mention Tech Site Builder. If you want to kind of put together a landing page like we talked about in this episode, where or you want to have good SEO so you can get people to that landing page, Tech Site Builder is going to be the place where you can do that affordably, quickly, and easily. I can't think of another way that you can quickly, easily, and for as low price as we offer it, build a website and landing pages specifically for IT businesses. So we give you starter content, we give you templates you can use, and then we of course have add-on services that you can purchase so that we can do some of those services for you if you don't have the time. So check that out if you want to put that together quickly and easily at techsitebuilder.com. Let's keep the conversation going. Head on over to computerbusinessmarketing.com. Let us know what you think in the comments below the episode. Every episode that we record, we create show notes. So links to the different places we talk about, links to the sponsors we talk about are on the show notes page. So if you listen to this on iTunes or live on Facebook, and you haven't visited computerbusinessmarketing.com recently, head on over there and check out the show notes. There's a lot of great resources. You can also search for past episodes. So for example, if you're wanting to learn more about LinkedIn, if you're wanting to start a Facebook ads campaign, search for that thing in the search box. It's on the sidebar kind of down in the sidebar over there at Computer Business Marketing. Search for the topic you're interested in, and you'll find multiple previous podcast episodes about that topic, so you can kind of brush up on all that stuff. Finally, don't forget to join us in the Facebook group. Just search for Computer Business Marketing in Facebook, or go to techsitebuilder.com/group and request access to the group by just answering 2 easy questions. We can't wait to hang out with you over there.
If you listen to the podcast on iTunes or Stitcher, be sure to give us a shout out and leave a review. We love to hear your feedback, and every comment helps so that the podcast can be found by others.
And finally, don't forget to check out our sponsors, Tech Blog Builder and Tech Site Builder. Thank you for checking out the Computer Business Marketing Show. This is Matthew Rodella.
And this is Paco LeBron.
Saying here's to your success.